Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Rishika Barwa. The big story, of course, that we're tracking for you is that horrifying incident at the Heritage Madrasa in Karnataka, where a mob participating in a Dussehra procession allegedly have broken into this Heritage Madrasa in the Bidar district of Karnataka, shouting Jai Shri Ram slogans and even performing a puja at the corner of the Madrasa building.
Rishika, very shocking incident coming out. NDTV spoke with the police there. They said that the FIR has been registered against 9 people who were involved in slogans like Rishika was mentioning. Jai Shri Ram slogans were heard, as well as the fact that they performed a puja. 4 have been arrested and a manhunt has been launched for 5 others who are absconding.
And Asauddin Owaisi, of course, has taken a dig at the BJP, saying that this is all the BJP promoting activities to demean the Muslim community. But let's go right across to NDTV's Shrija joining us with the very latest this morning. Shrija, it's a shocking incident that has been reported in Bidar. We're now learning that 4 people have been arrested. What more can you tell us?
Well, this particular incident took place, this is during the late night on Wednesday, when a Dussehra procession which was being carried out right outside this particular heritage site. Now, what's more important to note here is that the heritage site, that is the madrasa that we're talking about, is Mahmud Gawan Madrasa, and also it has over 500 years of history, and it's a protected site as well under the Archaeological Survey of India. Now, it's also listed under the most important sites as well. What's what is really we have to look into this particular case is that in the last 1 year we have been seeing, especially the rise in such communal incidents and also rise in terms of religious clashes, especially under the leadership of Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai. Now, this only adds to the latest incident. The last, of course, where we went on to see especially was also especially in the Eidgah Maidan, the grounds where even they had to move the court as well, where the court eventually had to say that, especially in Eidgah Maidan, also we understand that where they were not allowed to carry on with their Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations. Now, this is the latest incident where we are looking at a mob, in fact, that was participating in the Dussehra rally. Now, they broke the lock of this particular heritage structure. They barged inside the heritage structure. They sat on the stairs and then started shouting Hindu slogans. Also, what we have to look at, the most shocking part here is that they also performed a puja as well. We also understand from various other locals, they also confirmed to NDTV that during the Dussehra procession, there were several of the police officers who were stationed at that point in time, because this is the usual occurrence every year annually, where there will be several police officers stationed at certain vantage points to ensure that there are no untoward incidents. Now, despite the police presence and also with the, this particular heritage structure, that is the madrasa, being locked, we see that the mob entered this particular structure and performed the puja as well. Now, according to the police, we see the FIR has been registered against 9 persons and 4 people have been taken into custody. 5 are still absconding.
Shrija, Muslim organizations had threatened a massive protest if there were no arrests made, and now that we do know that some arrests have been made in the case, what kind of security arrangements have been put in place?
Well, definitely the situation is tense as far as Bidar is concerned. We also spoke to the police this morning, the Bidar police. We did ask about the current situation. What they tell us is that the situation is calm right now. But however, they're keeping an eye out on in terms of any untoward incidents that will take place, because right now it's, the tension that we're witnessing as far as Bidar is concerned. But just about yesterday, we went on to see how several of the Muslim organizations had staged a protest. They had demanded the Bidar police that, they had given them an ultimatum, especially to the Bidar police. If the arrests are not being made before the Friday prayers, they will ensure that there will be a massive protest that will be held. Now, keeping that in mind, we see that the police have also initiated quick action, but also only 4 people have been taken into custody. Still, 5 of them are absconding at the moment.
Right, we'll keep tracking the story and keep coming back to you for more on that. Thank you so much for getting us those details.
Moving on to the other big story that we're tracking today. All right, let's shift our focus to the other big story that we're tracking today. The court of Varanasi senior most judge is expected to pass a crucial order today on a plea by Hindu women petitioners for a scientific investigation, including carbon dating of the purported shivling that has been found inside the Gyanvapi Mosque complex earlier this year during a video survey that was carried out in the orders of a lower court of the temple town.
Right, Rishika, 4 of the 5 Hindu women petitioners whose original plea to pray year-long at the shrine inside the Gyanvapi Mosque are being made heard as far as the district judge's court is concerned. A scientific investigation plea was filed last month saying that it was necessary to determine the age of the shivling. In their plea, the women said such an investigation could involve the carbon dating process and be carried out by the Archaeological Survey of India. This is a government body. Our colleague Alok Pandey gets us the details.
Well, so here is what is expected in the Varanasi court today. So the district judge of Varanasi is going to take a call or pass an order on a petition by 4 of 5 Hindu women who want year-long access to a shrine inside Varanasi's Gyanvapi Mosque complex. And in this petition, these 4 women have said that a purported shivling that was found inside the mosque complex during a video filming earlier this year should be scientifically examined, and also perhaps applying the technique of something called carbon dating. Now, these 4 women, they say that, they want to know the exact age of the shivling, so to say, this purported shivling, and they want to know since when it has existed, etc. And this is something that is important to their original case, which, like I said, calls for or has the plea for year-long access to this shrine, the Ma Shringar Gauri shrine inside the Gyanvapi Mosque complex. Now, the mosque committee has opposed this plea by the 4 women, and I will just elaborate on why I'm saying 4 of the 5 women. But first, the mosque committee has opposed this plea, saying that, look, at the end of the day, this was no shivling, this was just a fountain that was found, and that any kind of investigation is at the end of the day against the law, etc. So it needs to be seen what the judge is going to say about this. Now, of the 5 women who originally approached the court with this plea for year-long access to a shrine inside the Gyanvapi Mosque complex, one of them has said that she is opposed to this carbon dating or scientific investigation plea because she feels that this is going to end up backfiring. Now, the other 4 women and she have now kind of separated or gone on different paths. This woman petitioner says that she is siding with the mosque committee in as far as saying that no scientific investigation is needed. So it's a complicated case, but at the moment, the orders that will come in today will perhaps also make it clear whether that scientific investigation by the Archaeological Survey of India, which is the demand of the 4 women petitioners, will happen or not. Things are not likely to change very soon on the ground, because even if some kind of a committee is formed, some kind of an investigation is ordered, this is a technical thing, it's going to take some time.
Well, moving on to the other big story that we're tracking, the report of a panel investigating the police flogging of some Muslim men in Gujarat is expected shortly. The report comes as videos showing alleged plainclothes policemen hitting men who were apparently caught throwing stones at a Garba venue are being circulated online. The big question, Divya, really is, will the Gujarat police really act against their own?
It's been 48 hours since that incident, Rishika, in the Khera district, and yet no action has been taken, and those concerns as to when will the police start to take action against perhaps them. In other news, Congress presidential candidate Shashi Tharoor had a disappointing meet with delegates in Chennai. Hardly a dozen of the Congress delegates of the 700 plus members attended that very meeting. Rishika.
Well, absolutely. He's, of course, attempted to reach out, asking Congress delegates to vote for him, and yet just a dozen out of the 700 attended this particular meeting. Now, a section of the state Congress spread fears, apparently, Divya, that participating in the meet could be seen as working against the Gandhis. Remember, it is Mallikarjun Kharge who's being looked at as the quote-unquote official candidate, even though the Gandhis have publicly said that they are not backing anybody. Now, Tharoor's supporters had to bring in non-delegates, including students, to cheer him on. The Congress MP says it's their loss. Sam Daniel caught up with him.
Tamil Nadu has more than 700 delegates, but hardly a dozen have come. Many of them are your fans, others have gathered here. There's a sense that attending this meet could be seen as working against the Gandhis. Do you think this kind of a thing is defeating the purpose of internal elections?
If people actually believe that, it would, but the truth is that the Gandhis have made it very clear that they not only have no official candidate, that they want a free and fair election, that everyone should have the right to a secret ballot and a conscience vote, and at the end of the day that they are staying neutral. So if people are afraid to be seen with me or to attend my meetings, then I'm sorry to say it's their loss, because we could have had a very constructive exchange as fellow workers, as co-workers in the same party, which they have denied themselves an opportunity to do.
Is the perception that Mr. Karge is the official candidate a challenge for you?
Well, from what some of the things you've said, it clearly is a challenge, but we will dispel that, because the fact is that the facts are otherwise. The truth is otherwise.
At some point, Congress had stalwarts, big leaders in all the states across the country. But at some point, when they emerged too stronger, they were seen to be a threat to the leadership. They were either sent out or let go. What would you do to restore confidence among the emerging?
My approach is very different. I've spelled it out in the manifesto. It is to empower the state leaders. I believe strong state leadership would give the Congress party a stronger foundation for the national efforts it makes. You do realize that in the 50s and 60s, this was our history. In the days when Jawaharlal Nehru was a very strong prime minister, there were very strong chief ministers like B.C. Roy in UP, Atulya Ghosh, or B.C. Roy or Atulya Ghosh in Bengal, Govind Vallabh Pant in UP, S.K. Patil and Y.B. Chavan in Maharashtra, Kamaraj, of course, the great Kamaraj in Tamil Nadu. We've had so many examples of strong state leaders, and the national party did not suffer because of that. It gained because of that. That's the ethos to which I hope to return.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Mr. Shitaru talking to us in Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel. Find it.
And he has very forward thinking. I believe all traditional way of functioning will be eradicated and new way will be implemented.
Tamil Nadu has around 700 delegates, but only a dozen have come today. Why?
See, it's a very short notice. If you are given a long notice, people would have come. But the votes will turn up, at least 50% we expect for us.
I think for 2024 elections, Shashi Tharoor is if there is a flicker of hope, I think it is him, to take on Modi and win the elections for Congress. I think he's the best candidate right now in Congress.
What's your assessment of Mr. Karge?
He's a good man and he has won elections, but I don't think he has the stuff to take on Modi in 2024.
Moving on to the other big political story that we're tracking, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be in Sikkim today for a 3-day trip to the northeast in order to participate in a core BJP meet tomorrow. He also has Guwahati on his agenda.
Right, so Guwahati is also on the agenda, which is where he will be reaching tomorrow. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah, as well as BJP President JP Nadda, will attend an eternal Sabha of the BJP tomorrow with an inauguration planned for the all-new BJP party state headquarters in Guwahati. With that, the BJP is starting its 2024 preparations in Assam.
All right, let's go right across to Akhilesh joining us live with the very latest. Akhilesh, interesting visit that is taking place. What are the details you can share with us?
Well, if you include Rishika, the recently concluded Jammu Kashmir visit, Mr. Amit Shah will be visiting at least 10 states across the country this month. And this is, of course, the groundwork being prepared for the upcoming 2024 Lok Sabha elections. It's very clear that Amit Shah has taken the command, has taken the lead of all these states, and he is personally supervising party's preparation for the upcoming Lok Sabha elections. In fact, we know that recently he had chaired a meeting where all the cabinet ministers were invited, and they have been given responsibility of those Lok Sabha seats which the BJP lost with narrow margin in the last Lok Sabha elections. And Mr. Shah has advised them to visit all these Lok Sabha seats. Now Mr. Shah himself will be taking this tour, and as I mentioned that at least 10 states will be visited by him, including Bihar, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Assam. And apart from that, Kerala, he will also be going. And all these states are very crucial for the BJP's scheme of things. And Mr. Amit Shah will be interacting with the party leaders there. For example, in Sikkim today, he will be chairing a core group meeting of the party in Sikkim, and after that he will be going to Guwahati, where he will be joined by BJP National President JP Nadda, and both of them will supervise the meeting of BJP's core group in Guwahati. And after that, he will be going to Bihar on 11th of October. This is the second visit in Bihar after BJP broke off with the JDU. And on the same day, he will be going to Kashi, Prime Minister Modi's constituency also. So in this meetings, in this tour, he will be attending official functions, and apart from that, the party-related functions, and will also be addressing public meetings.
Thanks very much, Akhilesh, for joining us. We'll, of course, keep coming back to you for more updates on that visit. Meanwhile, let's shift our focus to breaking news that's coming in. The Enforcement Directorate is now carrying out raids across 35 locations in connection with the Delhi government's excise policy. Raids are being carried out across Delhi and Punjab. Let's go right across to Arvind Gunasekar joining us with the very latest. Arvind, what more can you tell us about these latest raids?
Rishika, the Enforcement Directorate is currently carrying out searches at around 35 locations spread across 4 states. That's what our sources in the Enforcement Directorate have confirmed to us. So the searches are being currently carried out in Delhi NCR region and also Punjab and also in Andhra Pradesh. That's what Hyderabad areas. That's what our sources have confirmed to us. And then what we have also learned from our sources is that mostly the liquor companies and also the distributors and also the intermediaries are being currently searched by the Enforcement Directorate. And this is the third time that the Enforcement Directorate is carrying out such big raids in connection with this Delhi excise policy case. Earlier, the Enforcement Directorate also arrested Mahendra, who is the MD of Indo Spirits. Indo Spirits is one of the companies that have been named as an accused in this case by both CBI and also by the Enforcement Directorate. So Mahendra was taken into custody by the Enforcement Directorate, and during the course of the questioning, the agency said that they have got few more evidence and that needs to be confronted with Mahendra, and that's why even when he was produced before the competent court here in the national capital, the Enforcement Directorate sought for further custody of Mahendra. And what we are being told is that a big street food chain of street food restaurants in Delhi and also in Mumbai that owns predominantly most of the street food chains in Delhi and Mumbai are also being investigated by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with this particular case. So, based on the evidence that the agency gathered during the course of the investigation, now the agency is carrying out searches at around 35 locations, mostly on liquor companies, distributors, and also the intermediaries.
Right. Thank you so much, Arvind, for getting us those details. And like you mentioned, raids are being conducted by the ED in 35 different locations in Delhi, Punjab, as well as Hyderabad. And with that, we're slipping into a short break. Lots more coming up on the other side.
Welcome back. The other big story we're tracking. India on Thursday, interestingly, has abstained from voting on a draft resolution in the United Nations Human Rights Council on holding a debate on the human rights situation in China's Xinjiang region. Now, remember, there was a damning report by the United Nations that was released against China, which accused China of human rights violations, especially against the Uyghur community.
Now, human rights groups have been sounding the alarm over what is happening in the resource-rich northwestern Chinese province for years now, Rishika.
Well, absolutely. In that report that I was talking about, the UN has very categorically alleged that 1 million Uyghurs have been detained against their will in large camps in what Beijing calls re-education camps, but they're really being looked at as concentration camps of sorts. The draft resolution on holding a debate on the situation of the human rights of the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region of China was rejected in the 47-member council after 17 members, including India, of course, have 17 members voted in favor. India, of course, abstained.
Rishika, yes, 19 members voted against, including China, and 11 that abstained, including India, like you mentioned, Brazil, Mexico, as well as Ukraine.
Welcome back. Breaking news, it's coming in. The rupee has opened at yet another record low, breaching the 82 against the dollar mark for the very first time.
Right, Rishika, the rupee has depreciated this calendar year 10.6%, and there are fears that it could go as low as 83 or even 84 rupees to a dollar. And to get more on this, we have our colleague Priyanshi joining us. Priyanshi, record low as far as the rupee is concerned, breaching that 82 rupee for a dollar for the very first time.
Well, Divya, yes, rupee is at 82.27. It had reached the 82 level earlier as well, but today rupee is at 82.27. It is weakened by 38 paise just after the opening. So it's just been a few minutes since the market has opened and rupee has weakened this much. So the all-time low, the previous close for the rupee was 81.89 rupees, 81.89 per dollar, and now it is weakened to 82.27. If we talk about the all-time low that the rupee had reached, it was 82.32, so it's very close to that. Rupee is currently at 82.27, so very close to that all-time low of 82.32. The opening today was 82.16, but why is this really happening? Well, it's all started with all central banks increasing interest rates, and ever since that happened, rupee has been reaching new lows. In the month of January, it was around 74, but now it has gone down to 82. So it has started ever since the war started, and with the war, central banks started increasing interest rates to control inflation, and because of that, rupee has started weakening because all investors are going back to dollar-based investments such as U.S. bonds, and that is why the demand for the dollar is increasing. The dollar is at a 2-decade high, and as of course it will naturally go whenever the dollar's price goes up, the rupee is always valued in comparison to the dollar, so that's why the rupee's value weakens in comparison to the dollar when the dollar goes up to a 2-decade high. So because of all of this, the rupee is weakening. There are also global recession fears because whenever central banks keep increasing interest rates, there are fears whether the economic growth in the economy will lower, the demand in the economy will lower, because of course interest rates are known to hurt the demand in the economy because they make borrowing expensive, because interest rates, if they are increased in the bank,
right,
you and me will borrow less money because our loans will get more expensive. So we'll have less money in the economy. That is likely to bring down the demand in the economy, and with the demand, the growth in the economy is likely to go down. So because of all of this, there are recession fears in the economy. Added to that, these central banks, interest rate hikes, all of that are taking the rupee down.
Right, Priyanshi, with fears of the buck not stopping there, but it could in fact weaken further, Rishika, to 83 or perhaps even 84 to a dollar. Thank you so much, Priyanshi, for joining us with those details. Moving on, 36 people were killed in Thailand on Thursday in a mass shooting at a daycare center by a former policeman who later killed his wife and his child while shooting himself to death as well, Rishika.
Well, the victims of the mass shooting at the daycare center in Thailand included children as young as 2 years old. There were 24 children among the victims. Sneha joins us with the very latest. Sneha, what's the latest information coming in from this mass shooting?
Rishika, this is not just about Thailand. Perhaps across the world, this is one of the worst mass killings involving children, of up to 24 in numbers having died in this particular attack. And what we are being told, and we can confirm, is that this attack happened at a time when these children, many of whom are just about 2 to 3 years old, were sleeping in their daycare. This was a nap time, according to eyewitnesses who have spoken. And incidentally, Thailand has one of very high gun ownership rates in Asia. However, the laws for gun ownership are strict, which go on even up to 10 years of imprisonment or even up to $500 fine if there are any violations. But this is not just one-off incident. There have been, even though rare, there have been incidents of mass attacks even in Thailand in the past. We know in 2020 how a soldier had actually gone ahead and attacked various people all across 4 locations, killing almost 29 people. In 2021, another person had opened fire at a field hospital in Bangkok, at a coronavirus field hospital. So these are some of the histories that we can say. The flags are flying half-mast in Thailand even as the mourning continues. The King and the Queen as well as the Prime Minister are expected to meet the affected families today. Definitely not scenes like these scenes of these coffins after coffins coming out of the daycare center, reaching the families, is not something that anyone in the world would want to witness. Back to you, Rishika and Divya.
Horrifying story there. Thanks very much, Sneha, for joining us with the details.
In more international news coming in, President Joe Biden is pardoning thousands of Americans convicted of simple possession of marijuana under the federal law as his administration takes a dramatic step towards decriminalizing the drug as well as addressing charging practices that disproportionately impact people of color. Rishika.
Well, absolutely. And Biden's move also covers thousands convicted of crime in the District of Columbia. He's also calling on governors to issue similar pardons for those convicted of state marijuana offenses, which reflect the vast majority of the marijuana possession cases.
For all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana, there are thousands of people who are convicted for marijuana possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result of that conviction. My pardon will remove this burden on them.
And well, moving on to the other big aspect of what Putin has actually said. He's in fact talked about nuclear Armageddon. Now, this is an interesting comment that's coming in from the US President, who on Thursday said that the world risks nuclear Armageddon for the very first time since the Cold War, as the world is, of course, trying to find some kind of a midway situation between what's happening with the Russia-Ukraine conflict. He said that he is trying to find the Russian President Putin's off the ramp in the Ukraine conflict.
And Putin is not joking when he threatens to use nuclear weapons to pursue his invasion of Ukraine, is what Biden went on to say.
And well, moving on, Russian pop artist Alexei Sergenko has unveiled a portrait of President Putin on the eve of the leader's 70th birthday. The painting was called Putin with a Puppy, is 2 by 2 meters in size and depicts the Russian leader with an alibi puppy.
Well, it is a replica of the portrait that was painted by the artist 10 years ago to mark Putin's 60th birthday. But this painting is twice as large, and according to St. Petersburg-based artists, the bigger size is a reflection of the increase of the Russian president's stature.